Real life.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Welcome to another live by Sports Intellect. I'm here joined by Abel and Anthony. Welcome, guys, to this live. And today we're going to talk about FC Barcelona and their way ahead to being back to European giants of football. And so let's start off with that. And so, what is the way ahead for Barcelona with savvy managing? And are there any positives that you have noted from what you have seen under Xavi, this team under Xavi? First, Abel, you can start off with that.
Okay, yeah. For me, Xavi has been manager now for almost 2 to 3 months, and see, when he took over this club, it wasn't going to be an easy task for him. It was not like how he managed Al Sadd. When he managed Al Sadd back in Qatar, it was a easy journey for him, more likely also because they were unbeaten on the league. It was a lower tier league, but when he took over, if you look at his managerial experience as well, he did not have a lot of managerial experience running into Barcelona, but one thing which we know about him is that he is the man who has worked in Barcelona for the longest period of time. He has served Barcelona. He's a La Master product. He knows the philosophy of the club. Exactly knew what the turmoil the club was going under. And when Laporta called up Xavi, they perfectly knew what the plans and what the project is going to be working with Xavi. And especially if you have to expect a lot from him in the first season, you can't expect a lot more. But from the mess Barcelona were in November, if you look at what Barcelona are right now, they will be slightly happy. Not, of course, a lot more happy because they are now out of UCL. That's a big, massive hit or massive blow on Barcelona. But if you look, not a lot of people expected Barcelona to go on to do well. So that's one of the reasons why you have to expect Barcelona at this position. But actually, we got a okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I think we were not covering boxing today. Yeah.
yeah, we're not covering boxing today, so we'll get back to Jake Paul and Logan Paul. We will be covering boxing. Thanks for the question, CT Criminal. But yeah, yeah. So coming back to the point what I was making, if you look at where Xavi stands right now and the players he's got, he's kind of trying to make the optimum use of the players and the squad he has. If you look at the way he has, Ansu Fati was injured, Pedri was injured. He had to play likes of Abde. He had to play. He had to play even Luke De Jong up front. Luke De Jong was definitely not a prime candidate to play as a striker, but he also has tried to improve. He also has made a mark. So far, I assess Travis' performance to be maybe a 6 on 10, but I would definitely assess him at the end of the season. If Barcelona can make it to the top four and maybe finish well in Europa League, it would be a successful season for Xavi, and he would definitely have a roadmap set out for the next season.
Yeah, Anthony.
So yeah, I think signing Chavi was probably the best decision. It was the right decision they made, the club made, and I think because I think for a long time, it's been we've seen Barca's current expectations are of I would say what they used to be 6 years, 5 years ago, where they were at the pinnacle of of football, right? And what I would, yeah, what is there any other comment? Oh, that's a new comment. Oh,
No, no, no. That's about Papa Perez. We will come to Real Madrid as well. Yeah.
and I think that so the best thing what of at the current moment what Barcelona made is the right decision is to appoint Xavi, appoint one of their own, because Barcelona is this prestigious institution where they've been known to bring with to make decisions within their own organizations, to bring people within their institution. And for a long time they've been acting as a corporation, as a company, where they've been trying to reach the financial levels of how Premier League clubs operate, just throwing money, buying the best players, just buying the big name players, and ultimately they're in this financial and this ultimate crisis, the what. And I believe because where was the academy the last 4 or 5 years? We didn't see many players bringing coming up, and that's partly because how Barcelona's Barcelona's model, how their management structure has been for the last 4 or 5 years. And I think Laporta has probably made the best decision to bring Xavi. And granted, it's it's we can't expect them to, we can't expect Xavi to make correct decisions all the time because this is his first year. He's an inexperienced manager, and this is what is going to happen. He is going to be facing tough decisions. He's going to have tough challenges. They're currently fifth right now. Their next game is against Atletico, who is at fourth, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a very crucial game for them if they want to make UCL football next year. And so so let's see how Xavi is going to how he's going to operate as a man, as a manager in the most crucial moments, in the most clutch moments where his team has to perform at their highest level possible. And so hopefully, yeah, it's start of something amazing, something new in this new beginning for them. And hopefully this new era of Chavi's philosophy flourishes well. So yeah.
People are questions asking whether Dembele is going to leave Barcelona. Yeah, it has come to our notice that Dembele and Barcelona, the agreement has fallen out. That's the reason why he has not made the starting 11 in the last game as well. And that's the reason they have signed even Adama Traore in that position. So it's very clear that Dembele is leaving Barcelona. The agreement to increase his wages has fallen off. So next season he becomes a free agent. If Barcelona can sell him off in the next 3 days before the transfer window closes, it'll be profit for Barcelona because so far Dembele hasn't done anything great for Barcelona in Barcelona colours. He's been a 100 million plus buy. If Barcelona, if they can at least sell him at half the price, and I'm hearing that Tuchel is someone who's looking at Dembele to have him in Chelsea. So there are rumors about that. And even Dembele with Bayern Munich is also another link-up rumor which we are hearing about. So we'll see if Dembele makes a move in the next 2 to 3 days, or else he'll go as a free agent in the next season, and there'll be a new player. Definitely Barcelona looking at the future ahead. So yeah, you can take over, Santi.
It's very likely that I think he's going to go in the next season. That's mostly on a free
Yeah,
because I think his agents probably made it clear what his contract situation is. And I believe his brother or his a relative is his agent,
yeah,
and he's
yeah,
come out
probably.
and
Yeah,
said that this is the terms that Dembele wants, and Dembele wants to leave the club more than Barcelona's want him to stay. So yeah, hence the signing of Adama Traore, which is quite obvious that Dembele is leaving, and it's not. I don't think it's a rumor anymore. So yeah.
yeah, true.
Yeah, and yeah, as you said, Tuchel might actually want him in Chelsea because he was full of praises when Dembele was actually in BVB long back. He was actually full of praises for him. And we go on to the next question: is Barcelona has a huge financial debt over 1 billion actually, and that is going to make it tough for them to make a comeback into the market actually. So how bad is it actually looking at Barcelona's debt? Uh, how can they come back from it actually? And they have cracked up a deal, or I guess they have cracked up a deal with Spotify now, where they will have to rename their stadium to Camp Nou Spotify, and so and still they have a 1 billion debt. That's not going to change. So, able onto that, like how can they progress from now on?
See, the issue with Barcelona with debt is a very serious one. Once you all know that in back in October, ESPN reported that they are really in 1 billion debt after the due diligence report was filed. But what I'm hearing is that Barcelona took a loan from this company for almost 600 million, and also they told that they will cover 1.5 billion debt as well. So they've yet again taken a debt to cover a debt, right? So it's calling upon more of those things. So they are in a loop of clearing this debt. At this point, when Laporta did say that we are back, Barcelona is back, it was actually a wrong narrative to send out to their fans or to the people. On February 1st is when Laporta is coming out with a press conference to fight from the investigation he has put up on what happened in the previous tenure with Bartomeu. So we'll know what more has happened during that tenure, because that tenure is the reason why what Barcelona isn't right now, because that was a complete collapse of misadministration or maladministration done by Bartomeu and his fellow members. So right now, what I can understand is they have definitely cracked a deal with a bank where they have signed a 200 million loan. So they're able to sustain in the market because of this. That's where you saw a signing of Ferran Torres. That's why you're seeing them active on the transfer market, unlike some teams who are incurring massive debts. But one thing is very clear that the company has also promised a 1.5 million deal in order to build a new Camp Nou stadium. Camp Nou stadium, that's a big project for Barcelona that could probably generate a little more of revenue than what they're generating right now. The seating capacity increases. They'll also look to sell the merchandise as well. So that's one of the reasons why I'm also looking them signing Erling Haaland. Right now, their merchandise revenue has definitely fallen down. They're currently placed sixth in Europe, with number one being Bayern Munich and number two being Real Madrid in terms of shirt sales. After Messi's departure, definitely their merchandise value also has decreased. It has been a landslide for them. So I'm looking Barcelona to probably get back to that position of financial super giants maybe in another 6 to 7 years. Not definitely right now because of the position they are in, because of the problems they are facing. If this new deal with Spotify goes through, that will definitely benefit them to a certain extent. And also, Spotify is taking the rights over the stadium as well, where the stadium will be named as Spotify Camp Nou, which is, it might sound abrupt to many, but that is the only way Barcelona can move ahead. They're also looking to sell off their media rights in order to buy that 100 million deal with Erling Haaland. I'm not sure whether that's going to go through or not, but right now Barcelona is desperate in order to stay in the hunt alongside their competitors in the La Liga, or else they might fall off really behind. It might even come to a situation where they might have to dissolve the club. So that's a worst nightmare for a Barcelona fan and for Barcelona as a club. And financially, they might have to really recoup themselves. I'm hoping that this new deals and the media rights and also financial cap of selling some players, offboarding some players in the next season can definitely get them back into track slowly, but not completely.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think it's quite obvious that I think Laporta wants Erling Haaland. That I mean, we've seen that Real's been making moves since Dembele's been a PSG player, and it's growing more and more obvious that Mbappe is going to that. I'm sorry, yeah, I said Dembele. Very good. Mbappe is going to Real, and it's quite obvious that like gaining the signature of Erling Haaland to Barcelona will be of utmost priority for them. And so of course we've seen how since last year, since the Barcelona can't register new signings unless they sell new players, and they need to do a lot of restructuring in terms of their squad management. They need to cut players, they need to cut more salaries, and that includes selling off players and selling off the wages, and it's going to be quite crucial how Barcelona's how their uh, financial model is going to be next year onwards, because I think they're going to go with the path of bringing new talent through their academy through La Masia, and which has always worked for them in the past. It is in their history. It is grained in their history to bring up young players and bring people within their organization, and it's I think that's the best way for them to get back at the top, which is and of course the signature of Adama Traore and Ferran Torres seems a bit currently it seemed a bit odd on how they're balancing the books, because it wasn't the same it was last year. So I think there has been some progress being made. They've been probably generating money from here and there, that in slight, and on how they're managing their accounts, and yeah, so hopefully I think the best way is to cut costs, and that includes bringing people through their organization rather than outsourcing their talent.
Yeah,
And so yeah, let's see how their financial structure is going to be next year onwards. On is it going to be like a cutthroat company, or are they going to perform like a actual football club, that like where loyalty and where people where and where their own is being valued uh, rather than pure pure outsourcing. So yeah.
uh, Abel, you want to add on that, or I'll go to the next question?
See, I've already mentioned about what probably could be their future. It could be investing on younger players for the time being, but at a certain stage, we can expect them to really, go up the ranks. But I feel for every Barcelona fan because you are seeing a club who fell off in a matter of time. two seasons ago, they were a Champions League semi-finalist or a Champions League contender. I remember that speech which gave in that after Messi gave at the start of 2019-20 season, where he said that enjoy while it lasts because this could be rated as one of the greatest achievements. At that time, La Liga wasn't sufficient for many of the Barcelona fans, but at this point of time, Barcelona fans really want to get the La Liga at least, for some time. They're really hunting for that. Last two seasons haven't gone their way, but definitely there are hopes. That's what indeed the young squad is showing. There are definitely hopes. If you look at Real Madrid game where these lads came out and put that show, though it was on a losing cause, but the show might have definitely pleased a lot of Barcelona fans because of the effort they put in. Not just that, the kind of effort they have been putting, through the last 1 month has been also very good. Now their entire squad, once they're fit and back, they might look like a better side, and they might want some improvements in certain areas. Of course, especially if they lack finishing, they would want to pursue with intensity for a longer period of time. That's how you can compete in Europe right now. All the teams across Europe, one of the hallmark of all the best teams across Europe, you look at City, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid right now, they all are able to sustain intensity for 90 or 120 minutes. That's how you can be a champion team. And with these youngsters, they're definitely going to learn. And probably investing in La Masia would be the right way ahead because we have seen Barcelona's success over the years was always been on stronger La Masia structure.
Yeah. Let's move on to the next question. When we talk about Barcelona right now, they have a core of young players actually, which they have actually given them huge release clauses. And do they actually have to invest in them? Like, yeah, as you mentioned, La Masia has been like the main success of Barcelona. And should they actually invest in them, or should they actually go for players from outside and make a lot of purchases in the transfer market, build a new team around, or should they actually just go with the young core group that they have right now? Anyone could start. Anthony, you want to start?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go first. I think it's obvious where I think where we've seen this year with the emergence of Gavi, there's more. Pedri's had, of course, last year Pedri had to be involved. This year he's being involved in a much more of being in the dressing room, and there's more talents just coming up, and Isas Luzule, and I think he's a young player coming up, and it seems to me that they are moving in the direction where uh, there's been more prominence in bringing up talents from La Masia, and I think it's best that they build a team around where they've done in the past decades, where they have a core midfield, they have a core sort of in the middle of the pitch. They have players who will sort of dictate how the game should be played, and that's mostly been done through the in the younger ranks, where in the academy these players are brought to, they're playing in a certain identity, and they just sort of bring that identity into the professional game too. So I think that is what is being done right now, and of course, Xavi is bringing on. I think he's focusing on more on wingers. I think he
Yeah.
needs more firepower up front. I think that's probably hard to bring through the young players. I think
Don't you think they should be investing on a
next
defender meanwhile? Because that's an area they
Yeah,
lack.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think centre backs are very crucial to how I think centre backs who know how to defend, who've actually
Hmm.
done it before. They're looking at Christensen, and they're looking at options who's actually been very experienced in that area, and they need those types of players who will sort of bring more stability to the team. Who in times of crisis you need players who are just going to step up, and those aren't the younger players. Those aren't the players who are in the year who played through the youth ranks. They aren't going to be the ones, and we shouldn't be expecting them to be stepping up. It's going to be
True.
players like PK, and who the older heads uh, who's going to bring them through, and who's going to take this team through in times of crisis. And I think, as Label suggested, defensively, and I think in terms of a striker, a winger who's going to bring lots of goals. I think that's probably what they will be. Of course, Erling Haaland is one they're focusing on adding more firepower, and of course. But I think the midfield area, the wing back area, and the creativity, the core part of their game will be from the academy and will be from their own. So I think this is what their plan should be, and it seems to me that Xavi's been making moves to for this to be the plan.
Correct. I feel that.
Yeah. You want to add on that, or I'll go to the next question?
Well, if I have to add on that particular area, whether as to uh, whether this team should have younger heads or older heads in the field, I would say right now, especially if you're filling holes like defensive positions, defensive midfield options, I see Barcelona's biggest weakness has been this. We did discuss about it during that coverage of European mid-season table discussion about defensive transition, and one of those areas which Barcelona has been really lacking, isn't it? So I personally feel in the last couple of months at least, it's been very evident that when they're coming up against a team which plays with intensity, Barcelona's defense has looked absolutely in shambles. It's been the case for last 3 seasons with Barcelona. If you look at the Champions League semi-final against Liverpool, that quarter-final was they played against Roma, all NB that match they played against Juventus back in 2016 season. It's been that case for them. And against Bayern Munich, it all fell apart. When there's a team which has been putting intensity upon Barcelona, they've been unable to really push it through, and that's something which I believe they can do it as well over a period of time. They need to change. They need to have a complete restructure in the defensive setup at least, especially when it comes to centre backs. And maybe in future you might see a new centre back positions being allotted upon. Maybe PK should be moved upon. Maybe you might have to see Sergio Busquets being replaced. These lads have to. They might have to call the shots on these guys, and heads might have to go down. So these are the positions Barcelona really definitely need to invest upon. Maybe it could be younger guys, but give them a period of a rope of 2 to 3 seasons. Maybe you might develop them into good defenders for the future at least. But now the bad news which is coming out for Barcelona is Araujo has rejected the offer which has been put out on plate for him for contract renewal. Maybe that is not a good sign for him. He's asking for definitely higher wage demands.
Uh, so yeah, I think there's a common suggesting about Traore and Dembele. Uh, I don't think. I think if it was boxing, it seems to me that Traore is gonna win. Uh, in terms, who do you think's faster, Traore or Dembele? In their prime, who do you
Definitely,
think's faster?
definitely Traore, but then I see uh, Traore. Traore's biggest issue has been his finishing. Right, he is done well
Yeah,
with pace. He's got the ability to cross once in a while, but if you look at his finishing, it's been one of the poorest. And all what he has got is physicality. Maybe in La Liga he might not need those physicality because defenders are much more technical. You need a technical
yeah.
sense of play in La Liga. That's why I think that yesterday also I did discuss during a cricket podcast. We did bring the Traore thing because it was a breaking news. I felt Traore was not a good signing, but if you look at the passion of him towards the club, he came on his own will. He took a wage cut. He rejected a contract renewal with Wolves. I know with Spurs, they offered him 120K a week. Conte wanted that wing back in Traore, but I don't know how he's going to fit into the Barcelona system. But he's definitely going to be used by Xavi in some way or the other, which I'm very keen to looking at.
He's actually one of their own, right? He came through
Yeah,
La Masia, is what I
yeah,
remember, and I think yeah, it's about him. Or talking about his physique, he's a very weird combination. It's how much he can generate that much space with the kind of body that he has, and it's obvious that Lama the La Liga defenders, they play with more. They're more better in a technical aspect than in a physical aspect, but I think it's his physique is going to come in advantage in this league,
yeah,
which he's been using it in the Premier League, and it's going to be. Let's see how he's going to be. Is he going to be more of a getting behind kind of player, or is he going to be part of the building process where
yeah.
he's going to be more involved in dribbling, uh,
Mm,
and it's going to be quite crucial with how he's going to. His finishing is a very important aspect if he wants to be a mainstay in the team, and
yeah,
so yeah, I think it's not just him. I think though the club has a plan with him, and it's going to be very interesting with how Xavi is going to be working with him. So yeah.
Yeah. So, which are the areas you guys think that Barcelona needs to like actually invest on? Like these areas that they have flaws or something, and which are the players they should look to offload like this season or the next season coming forward? Like, should they actually offload some players off, and who are they?
See, as I mentioned just a minute ago about defensive areas, that's one of the primary concern for Barcelona. That's the only reason why Barcelona has not been able to claim those 3 points. They're conceding in some way or the other. If you have to be a championship team, you should keep clean sheets. You should concede less goals as possible because attack probably can win you games, but defense wins you championship. That's as simple as that. We often talk about teams playing boring football, keeping clean sheets. If you look at Chelsea last season, Tuchel when he took over the reins, he played with those defensive football. If you look at the final of Champions League, it was just a 1-0 affair. But what was appreciated the most? The Chelsea's defense coming into the fold. That's why you need to always make sure your defense is on tap, especially when it comes to league stage games or knockout games. The defense should be on point. That's where I feel Barcelona should definitely invest in a centre back probably at the start of the next season. I'm also hearing rumors of Barcelona linking up with Tagliafico from Ajax, which is a very good move, I personally feel, because he's a good left back and he could be a perfect replacement for Jordi Alba because you look at Jordi Alba's age, he's 31, 33, 32 now. So you are probably going to see best of Jordi Alba for probably 1 or 2 seasons. I'm not going to put him in the class of Marcelo, where he had a very long run, even in his 30s. But Jordi Alba, if you look at the way in which, same issue with Jordi Alba, Busquets, PK, they're unable to sustain pressure and quality pace. Though Jordi Alba has pace, but he's unable to sustain pressure. So that's what happens, in European football these days. If you're unable to sustain pressure, which has been put forth by the opposition, you cannot help your team at all in any cause. If you look at that match against Real Madrid, it was one of Sergio Busquets' mistake which caused the first goal for Barcelona because he was unable to sustain pressure. He gave the ball to Benzema. From there, the counter started. So this has been happening for a very long period of time, and especially defensive transition. If you don't have pace, if you're unable to sustain, you need to offload this. So PK, Busquets, Jordi Alba, these players at least needs to be sidelined. They should not be part of starting 11, especially in big games. And investing on a fullback, probably a centre back and a defensive midfielder would be the right way ahead. I have an interesting theory. I think Barcelona should rather focus on investing Frankie de Jong in CDM instead of playing him as a number 8, which Barcelona has been making a mistake right now. And even the previous coaches made the same mistake because Frankie de Jong for Ajax was a number 6 and he did really well doing that. And at times he did come front, making being a number 8. At times we also see him playing a number 10 role for Ajax. But what has been the best forte for Frankie De Jong? It's been the number 6 job where he's been very good in giving those support for Delight, and also for the defense of Ajax. So I feel that's a role which Frankie De Jong should be used in Barcelona as well. I don't know how far it can be successful for them, but they can definitely try instead of Busquets. They can probably bring in Frankie De Jong in number 6 and probably two number 8s in Gavi and Pedri, and probably you have a good midfield over there and a good midfield for the future for next at least 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's Frank De Jong's contract situation is also a bit doubtful, is what I've heard. I think there's rumors coming up. There's suitable buyers for him. There's I think there's a lot of clubs involved in his signature and his services. But of course, I think Barca is going to keep him. I think they see him as long term replacement for Busquets. But yeah, I think in terms of chopping up the squad, it's there's like you suggested, Barca needs more players, not just in terms of the PK and Busquets, uh, Jordi Alba. They're all old, they're all very experienced, but they just don't seem to be able to keep up with the pressure of the new game, which is much more tactic, much more high intense. The intensity of the game is much more higher, and it's much more of a tactical game than was in their prime. And it seems to me that De Jong is going to be have a more deeper, more involved role in the number 6 position. I think next season onwards, and
Yeah,
I think they're signing Aspilicueta for a reason of experience, and it seems to be a great signing for the dressing room. I agree with it. It's going to be very interesting on how he's going to be involved in the build-up process, in the tactical process, and
yeah,
so yeah, I think they need to be chopping down. Of course, financially they need to cut off some of the wages. They need more money in terms of wages, and the best way to generate revenue is to sometimes just get rid of your some of your employees. And I think there's going to be a huge summer overhaul next season onwards. But if they're ambitious of signing Erling Haaland, which is going to cost them a lot, not in terms of transfer fee, but huge in terms of their wages, because I don't think Erling Haaland is the type of character, or is the type of player who's going to be taking wage cuts for the betterment of the club, especially if his agent is Mino Raiola, who's
Yeah.
just involved. Yeah, his just involvement in the money game. So yeah, I think next summer onwards, there's going to be a huge squad overhaul, and I think the names suggested by us in this live there, I think they might be at the receiving end of it. So yeah.
Yeah, talking about Erling Haaland, so do you guys actually think Haaland can actually come to Barcelona?
See, there have been a lot of interest for Haaland all across Europe, isn't it? Including their arch rivals, Real Madrid have been very keen on signing him, and he's going to be a big signing. What Haaland brings into the table is he has been a very clinical finisher, just not in Bundesliga, even in Champions League. You have seen it. He's played for Salzburg. He has been able to do the same, and now with Dortmund as well. The thing is, he offers pace. Is very clinical with finishing, and also there's his presence. He's more like a leader character, right? He brings his teammates along, so it's a complete package, and he's a brand in himself right now. So merchandise revenue, a lot of shirt sales, he can generate a lot of marketing value as well. So that's the reason why Real Madrid is behind him. Manchester City is looking for him as well. Pep is quite fond of this guy, so you never know. Barcelona are going to be competing with some of the teams who's ready to splurge money, So I personally feel Barcelona's chance of getting Haaland is very minimal compared to the other two top clubs. And Haaland also would want to come to a club where where the positions are pretty settled. In Dortmund right now, what he's facing is exactly the same situation as what he's facing in Barcelona, because Dortmund are unable to put in those performances, unable to get those results. Let it be Champions League, let it be the league, and also DFB Pokal. They've been knocked out recently as well. So they've been knocked out by one of the low tier teams. So it couldn't have gotten worse for Haaland in the Dortmund jersey. But now coming to Barcelona, he's going to be coming into a similar situation where they are also in a building stage. But if he goes to Real Madrid, or for example Manchester City, they're a well-oiled machine. He might be right into it, and he will be raring to go from the first game. So for him, it's going to be an important decision to make, not just for his agent. In terms of maybe for I mentioned earlier about Barcelona selling off their media rights, and also their media rights just to get this guy 100 million, 150 million media rights. They're just selling it off in order to get some transfer fee to sign Haaland. So Barcelona are very desperate for Haaland. Maybe even La Liga might be in support of it. If Mbappe and Haaland comes to the same league, it's going to be a competition like before. Ronaldo, Messi, the two big brands in La Liga, they can create those rivalry around them. Maybe even La Liga might be fond of. They might, come down for those wage and financial cap just in order to create that rivalry, and then in that spark in La Liga. You see that in this season in La Liga, the revenue and the viewership has dipped very very low, because some big players have left. Messi is not there. Ramos is not there. Ronaldo left 3 seasons ago. So there's definite reasons why La Liga also would want to spark their league, where they might definitely reduce the financial cap in order to bring Haaland. But other than that, Haaland also will have a big choice to make in order to make a move to Camp Nou, or Bernabeu, or to Etihad. So it's going to be interesting in the coming days. You never know. Even Haaland might even go to PSG, to play alongside Messi, to play alongside Neymar, because I am pretty sure that Mbappe is leaving at the end of the season from PSG. So maybe that's a spot which is vacant as well. So all the big super giants of European football will be bidding for Haaland, and Haaland will have a very tough choice to make in terms of where to go and where he'll face the biggest challenge, and where he can succeed probably.
I think the
Uh,
most obvious one is City. I think
Yeah.
they're probably the one he's just going to fit in right into the fold. And in terms of his team, in terms of the service he's going to get from his teammates, it's going to be scary. It's going to be a nightmare for Premier League defenses. And yeah, I think Champions League might be in the bag in the future. and it seems to me that it's not very. I mean, Barcelona are going to have to offer something that they haven't offered before. They're gonna have to make an offer that he wouldn't refuse, and let's see what how exactly Barcelona are going to present themselves next season onwards, because
Yeah,
there needs to be more signs of progress to gain his signature. He's an absolute machine. He's a generational talent, and
yeah.
it's going to be, I think, even for Real, I think because he's always been he even though before he signed for Dortmund, Manchester United looked for him, Real Madrid looked for him at that time, but he chose Dortmund because he wanted to be part of a project, and he seems to be much more ambitious about the way his future, his legacy should be as a player, as a footballer, and let's see what exactly Barcelona is going to offer to that to his upliftment, and to his how exactly is he going to be a legend of the game. So if he's going to sign for Barcelona, and if he's going to sign for whichever club he signs for, is it's going to be a long term commitment for him, and hopefully it seems very unlikely. It seems very unrealistic with the way how Barcelona is operating,
Hmm.
how they want to sign him. But
Only a mountain to climb for Barcelona to sign Haaland. There'll be certain repercussions as well. They might generate some revenue out of the signing, definitely because of the marketing value of Haaland, which he possesses. But it's going to be a tough. They don't want to jump into that pit again where they call for trouble, right? So I personally feel signing Haaland will definitely help them in terms of their performance. But looking at a futuristic and a bigger, larger picture, it might not be good for the club at large. So they can go for a Morata instead, which they are actually in link
yeah,
up with. And probably if they can develop Morata into the player he potentially can reach, it's going to be a terrific time for Barcelona because he's a terrific player as a number nine. He can hold the ball, he can create the play, and we've seen him when managers have used him wisely. He's a top class striker in Europe.
I think Morata in his prime is absolutely, he was one of the best strikers at the time, in his prime. I think, and that's partly because he had another striker. He had Higuain, he had Mandzukic. He had another striker who just took the pressure off of him, and
Yeah.
he would just finish the chances he would get. And of course, I think Barca should, of course, with the signing of Dusan Blahovic for Juventus, Barca should go for Morata if Erling Haaland seems like a no deal for them. Morata is, I think, with the situation they're in, with the circumstances they're in, I think he's probably the best striker that they're gonna get, and he's of course experienced. He's relatively young, and he's got a good he's got a good half a decade, I would say, to really reignite himself, and Barca are in a crisis. He has been in moments of crisis, and I believe he can offer more in getting out of this crisis, and bringing Barca to a much more stable and a much more European club.
Yeah. Talking about actually another player who's actually having problems with this club right now is Aubameyang, and he's actually rumored to Barcelona over Morata at the moment. And what do you
Yeah.
guys think of this move? Which is better, Morata or Aubameyang? I
But
personally
you
feel
tell
it's Morata, but
Morata, yeah.
Aubameyang just
I think,
seems so.
yeah, Obama, he's actually not in a state where I think he's past his prime. I think he's
Yeah.
past the age where he used to be that getting behind striker who used to run past defenders and score. I think he's more of a
He's
winger right now.
versatile.
Yeah, he's versatile. Of course, he's versatile, but I don't think he's going to be the guy who's going to be offering Barca to take them out of this crisis. I don't think, as an older player, as a senior player, he's not doing well in the Arsenal dressing room. He's not a very he's not a good figure for the Arsenal dressing room, I would say. I think especially Morata is Spanish. I think he's going to offer much more to Barcelona,
Yeah.
in terms of, if you look in that perspective. But yeah, I don't think he's in a position where he could be the most helpful to Barcelona. I think Morata has that edge over him.
You're slowly seeing a Spain team develop in Barcelona, isn't it? Because
Like
Morata,
always, yeah.
like you always see that, we've seen in the past David Villa, Iniesta, Xavi. Now you're seeing Gavi. You're seeing probably Morata comes alongside Fati, Pedri. You are Azpilicueta. It's a good Spanish setup, and also now Traore, Ferran Torres. It's like a old Spanish Barcelona team, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whenever they won the World Cup, they had these many players playing in their club football. If you look at the last decade or so, a team has gone on to win the World Cup when you have many players playing in the same club who goes on to play for national team. So I'm feeling if this is a thing, Spanish football can definitely benefit out of it. We have seen that with Germany and Bayern Munich. We've seen with Barcelona and Spain, and yet again with Barcelona and Spain. If it happens, it's all good news for Spanish football as well. And you might see Luis Enrique just preferring the Barcelona team over Real Madrid players as well, of course, because of his biasness with the club. And he has been a strong Barcelona fan forever. He has been a player, and he has the liking. His style of play really suits Barcelona players as well. So it's going to be an easy shift for him to take those players from that Barcelona team and implement the same philosophy now with Xavi also as a manager of Barcelona, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Enrique will obviously he'll prefer the Barcelona players above any player which is coming to the Spanish national team. And
Yeah.
talking about the next thing is, uh, are Europa League hopes still on for Barcelona, and finish to the top four? Is it still on for Barcelona? Because their chance of winning a trophy this year is almost over. We can say,
Yeah.
because they've lost the Super Copa and they've lost the Copa del Rey. So, what do you think about them winning a trophy this year? Is it Europa and top four of La Liga? I mean, they can't win the La Liga. I don't see them winning the La Liga this year.
Unless
What do
Real
you?
Madrid
Uh,
collapses, like COVID
Yeah.
hits them
yeah.
badly, 20 players are
Uh,
gone.
But
yeah, that's seems very unlikely. I think for
but
them, I think
Sevilla is a team.
who?
Yeah.
Sevilla is a team which is just behind them
Yeah.
actually, but not being
Yeah.
talked upon.
Actually, I made a mistake in saying Sevilla in our first podcast, saying Sevilla are doing badly. I mean, we are real actually over there. So, yeah, Sevilla are definitely a top team. They might just give Real Madrid a run for their money, but unless Real Madrid loses next 2 to 3 games, I don't really see them really, jumping off the
I
cliff
think
from.
Sevilla's in. I think just four points below Barca, and they've played the equal number of games. But I
No,
mean,
behind Real.
yeah, Real, and I think with the quality of squad, that Real has, it seems to me that they're just gonna go away with
They have a good
this
depth as
season.
well. Yeah, they have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good depth.
And Sevilla's probably for the first 11 might be they're probably a well drilled team at the moment, but it seems to me that come to the end of the season, I don't think they would be have the legs for it. With the signing of Anthony Martial, I don't know what exactly is going to be hopeful for Sevilla in that regard, but maybe he steps up and he probably offers more for the season. But yeah, for Barca, of course, Europa League next year is of course a possibility. Champions League, yeah, I mean Champions League next year. It's I think the next game is quite crucial with
Yeah,
yeah, the game
massive,
against
massive. Yeah.
yeah, the game against Atletico is going to be very crucial with how their Champions League hopes are going for the next season, because playing Champions League offers, it's in terms of financially too, it offers very much. And it seems to me that they will be pushing for the spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't also, because they need that break from being sort of holding on to that pressure they've
Yeah.
had in the past few years. And yeah, I think next season Champions League is of course it's possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is the second part of the season where uh, we'll really see how they're going to be, taking in how they're going to be holding on to the pressure, how they're going to be stepping up. This is where you need older players. This is where you need senior players who are experienced in this regard to take them forward. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so come
If
next
you look
game,
at
come the
Atletico also, they've not been in best of forms, right? They have
yeah,
been
yeah,
struggling
yeah,
in La
Yeah,
Liga. Though they
yeah,
made that brilliant comeback against Valencia, but they lost to Sociedad, they lost to Bilbao, though they have some really good teams. Sociedad and Bilbao are really top teams in La Liga right now, but they are struggling in terms of a lot of position midfield. They are struggling up front in terms of finishing. They are struggling. So this might be a good time to play Atletico Madrid compared to a stage where they are really looking solid. But Atletico also are going through their own turmoil right now. So if Barcelona can get a result over there, that will give them a whole lot of confidence going into that Europa League tie against Napoli.
yeah, true. So I think that could be all for today on Barcelona's discussions. And do you guys want to talk about anything else or any mentions that you guys want to make?
We'll come back if there's something breaking. I mean, definitely some of the international break hasn't been one of the exciting international breaks this time.
yeah,
You see Argentina playing. That Argentina has been very solid in terms of keeping their 27 games unbeaten. So 28 games, if I'm not wrong, is it?
Yeah, 28.
yeah. I
I
think
think
28.
from
Yeah,
yesterday's
28
28.
games unbeaten, going strong. I saw that game against Chile in highlights. Of course, I couldn't stay awake all night. But that goal which Di Maria scored was not, was a absolute thing of beauty. I remember that goal which he scored against France. Kind of remind me of that.
yeah,
But yeah,
Yeah,
Argentina is a good side without Messi. Also, they're able to finish and they're very solid up in the back. So Argentinian fans, they have a lot of hopes going into the World
yeah.
Cup. And maybe 9 months time,
Yeah.
if they can keep this form, you never know.
Yeah, I mean it's possible that that dream that I think it's not just Argentina fans. I think the
Yeah.
fans around the world in 2014 wanted Argentina to win to win that final, and
Yeah.
so yeah, 2022. Let's see what 2022 has has to offer for Argentina.
Let's ask the question: is Ronaldo making the World Cup or not?
It's
uh,
yeah, that's hopefully yeah. I mean, I think football is a form of entertainment too. So yeah, I think it's quite crucial that Ronaldo makes it into the into hopefully his last World Cup. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be a big, big time in March for Portugal, Italy. Italy, who would have ever thought, right?
yeah,
The champions of Europe are
yeah,
fighting for a spot in the World Cup. They did not make the last World Cup as well, so it's going to be a
yeah,
tough time for them. But other than that, I
yeah,
see some
both are
exciting.
really top teams and with packed
Yeah,
with a lot of top players. Like you can see
yeah,
Portugal team is actually really packed. Like they
yeah,
got players.
I think Portugal has that. I think in terms of attacking overload, they seem to be more of a defensive team. But in
yeah,
terms of attacking, they have that depth in their team. But
yeah.
it seems to me that they need more coaching. They need more time to get more adaptable to really understand how the team should be. But
Mhm.
Italy is, as we've seen in the Euros, Italy is a very well drilled team. They know exactly what they're doing, and uh, Italy seems to be the favorite. But anything's possible in the World Cup.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah,
got that big man. He steps up for these
yeah,
moments. We've seen that. I remember watching 2014 World Cup qualifiers where Portugal were in a
Sweden.
similar position against
Yeah.
Sweden, where he delivered. So it's not the same old Ronaldo. We need to come in terms with that as well.
yeah,
And that manager has been facing a lot of flack in terms of the football they're playing. Very pragmatic, which has not been working at all in terms of chances created up front. It's been very poor, but Diego Yota is a big, big player for them as well. I hope they use him pretty well because he's been very instrumental for Liverpool in the Premier League, where he's been able to deliver those goals in place of Firmino. And probably if they can probably unleash the Diego Jota, what we see in Liverpool, you might see a very good Portugal team going into the World Cup if they make it. Or else uh, probably it's a way out for them. And Messi was in a similar position, if you remember, in 2018, where he saved them. Yet again,
Yeah.
Ronaldo is. So, these kind of players really thrive for these situations. And if they can really put it out for them, once you're playing for your country, it's much more than a club, right? And the passion definitely ignites them. And Ronaldo is someone who really waits for these kind of opportunities. If he can really pull out something against Italy, or they'll be against, I think they'll be coming against Turkey as well in the qualifiers.
Yeah. The first
So
game
if
against Turkey.
if Portugal can get that first win and get into the finals of that qualifier, they can, anything. It's on that day and it's on that game. Other than that, we'll come back with some exciting podcasts. We'll be coming with some tennis podcast for a change. Djokovic, Federer, Nadal. Who
Yeah,
is the GOAT? Nadal is on the verge of claiming 21 Grand Slams if he
yeah,
wins the Australian Open. It's a massive
yeah.
achievement. Federer or Djokovic hasn't achieved it. So can Nadal do it? Or is it going to be a complete tie at 20 Grand Slam for all the three groups? So we'll come back with that. Thanks for joining us. Thank you all. See
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. Thank you for watching.